sounds straight legit to me. I would, without even looking it up, I would go with her on it. I'm sure what she's saying is true. So silly.
Yeah, just woke up. Looks like we got us another hit. Yep.
How y'all feel? Remember, an educated public cannot be controlled. Learn to be active. The views and events expressed here are totally whack. They're not necessarily the views of anyone. Obsessed with fantasy. Obsessed with fantasy. What does that mean to you? That's the name of the show. Obsessed with fantasy. So it's like the idea of not being able to distinguish the difference between a dream and a fantasy, because dreaming is not necessarily a bad thing, that's how people accomplish their goals, when they say my dreams came true. But there's a difference between having a dream, like something you're aspiring for that's realistic, or at least to the point where it's possible, um and then you have the realm of fantasy where you fall in the illusions of grandeur. You fall in the realm of you know temporary pleasure, temporary satisfactions, and in this world of consumerism that they have built for us, they selling you fantasies left and right, pretty much everywhere you turn, everywhere you look. They're preying on your fantasies, so these things that could never happen, or these things that you could never have, or these things that you would never do actually, you know um or like getting rich overnight type of deal, like that doesn't happen really, so that's a fantasy. So then they sell you this and they're like, oh, all you have to do is this little thing right here and you'll be rich tomorrow. And then how they get you is because you have accepted your fantasy, you have fallen for it, you've fallen in love with it, you're romanced by it, you're entranced by it, and that's what they do to us. And we have as a society, I believe, we have an obsession with fantasies, and it's very unhealthy. We're obsessed with fantasies. We move from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, and it just keeps us going. It's those temporary thrills, those, just to talk about it in your mind. Like, it's like in that movie Life with Eddie Murphy and them. And they were talking about the boom boom room, and they were like, so in the boom boom room, it's gonna be like this, and it's gonna be like that, and it's gonna be like this. So they already knew that there's no way there's ever gonna be a boom boom room where these guys are running the club or whatever. But it's entertaining for the moment to fantasize about it, um, when you're in moments of distress, when you're in situations where you are confined and oppressed, and you know you don't have many options, you know you fantasize, and that's just a way for you to get through. So in that situation, it's healthy for your mind, so it serves a purpose, to pass the time, to not dwell on the misery of the reality of your situation. Okay. So but then it's an escape, kind of like a drug, like drugs. You're trying to escape the reality, you're trying to escape the painful, mundane, moment to moment reality of your life. So you indulge yourself in this fantasy to get through the moment, and you want to stay within the fantasy as long as you want. It's like the X-Files, when they came out with the thing where they said, I want to believe. That was the name of it. I want to believe. So it's like whatever information that comes out or that you becomes available to you, that supports your fantasy, then you're gonna indulge yourself in it. And the information that goes against it, you're gonna disregard. You're gonna pretend that it's not there, that you're not hearing that information, or that information is not real, or it could be wrong. You explain it away. The same reason why you explain the fantasy, you know, you big up the fantasy like it's a real thing. So you're doing these things simultaneously. It's a total mind fuck. It's like, it's a bipolar, and that's what they got. That's what kind of society we have today. We have this mentally ill bipolar society that chases fantasies to get them through moment to moment to moment to moment, you know, because and it's just like the movie Life. It's as a result of being in an oppressed state, being in like a prison. That's what the whole movie The Matrix was about. All the people were in a prison, but they wasn't aware of it. And the prison allowed them to indulge in all of their fantasies or all of their whatevers, and pretend that life is just good. But they were in a prison, you know, of their mind. I was watching. They were talking about the Truman Show, and It kind of compares to the Matrix, in like what's real and what's not, and about being in a prison where you don't know it's a prison, because that's how it was for the guy in the Truman Show. He was born in the show. No one ever told him, or he was never made aware that every step he took in life was all part of a set, and none of it was real. His best friend wasn't real. His mom wasn't real. His wife wasn't real. They were real people, but they weren't really his wife. They wasn't really his mom. They wasn't really his friend. They were all playing roles and getting fed lines, you know? So that's what it is. So he was in a prison. He was locked up on a TV set, and at the end of the movie, he escapes. So that's really interesting. And all of the things and trials and tribulations he had to go through to escape this fake reality that he lived in is quite amazing, And in the movie, you don't get to see when he steps out into the real world, because it's like he's no longer a product of you, a product of the viewer, something for you to consume. His life is his private life, and he gets to do what he wants. He's free. And that's when the freedom is, when the fantasies, are no longer present. When you can actually dream, and you can actually make your dreams come true. You can create things. You can do and live the way you wish, without constriction, without the suffering of related to things that you have no power over, like related to the system that you live in, like forcing you to live a lifestyle, or forcing you to live in a way that's not conducive to you, or to your, to your nature. Anyways, that's my idea of obsessed with fantasy.